Good morning from Toronto, traders. It is 9:01 Eastern U.S. time on Tuesday, the 9th of August, 2022. Thanks for joining me on episode number 2290. 10 more episodes to 2300. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. My voice might sound congested, nasally, all that stuff, because it is. So bear with that for a minute. Let's take a look at what the market's got in store for us by checking out our pre-market summary sheet from Convergent Trading. Just a reminder, I am supposed to be off this week, but I wanted to make sure I keep up with what the market's doing so I don't lose the narrative. And since I'm doing that, I might as well uh, maintain the videos. So that's why I'm here. Otherwise, I shut down and I go do other stuff right after this. So I'm not trading at all. So just I'm telling you up front, I don't know what's going on intraday in the action, in the order flow, and so on. So I can't really comment on that, and I will not be covering any of that. So if you hear that the commentary is kind of very high level, that's the reason. That's why I'm telling you. So what do we have? We have a market that is mild risk off this morning. We see that the European session is relatively weak. The Nasdaq is weak this morning. Semiconductors reported yesterday, and anyway, we have some weakness across the indices. The Dow is unchanged. The S&P is down 9.5 points, trading around the 4132 area. The market got to a low of 4123 in the S&P. If you recall yesterday, that was the expectation. I expected that it would have a hard time leaving orbit. Going back to that analogy from last Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, I don't remember. I think Wednesday, where I talked about it would take a lot to get out of the orbit of this 4120. And here we are making a spin back at 4120, the MC point of control in this area for the S&P. No key events today, really. No market moving earnings. You have some players like Hyatt, Emerson. Summer trading overall. This is the depth of summer trading. I think schools in many areas start next week, believe it or not. Seems kind of early, but I know my 4.5-year-old school starts starts the 17th, I believe. It's pretty amazing that the summer has come and it's coming to an end, and we're approaching the autumn if you're British, or fall season if you're American. Um, really amazing. So what's on deck? Looking at the calendar overnight, there wasn't much there at all. We had some numbers, unit labor costs, Q on Q, some other stuff I'm not familiar with. IBD tip economic optimism. What is this? Um, IBD tip supposed to come out at 9 here. Did not, or is it the wrong time zone? It's the wrong time zone. Wrong time zone, folks. Sorry about that. At 8:30 Eastern today, we got unit labor costs and non-farm productivity. We got we're getting IBD tip at 10, not 9. I apologize for that error. The time zone had changed because of my travels, and I didn't catch it until just now. API crude oil stock change, of course, at 4:30 Eastern, not at 13:30 as it shows there. Unfortunately, the counter's off on the pre-market summary sheet. I apologize for that. But we do get the inflation rate out of China this evening. It comes out at 9:30, not 8:30 Eastern, but 9:30 Eastern. If you happen to be trading at that time, the consensus or the forecast is for 2.5% holding steady. And then we get the inflation rate month on month at the same time, and PPI. So those numbers are going to be significant for the Asian session there. So that's where that sits. Um, more noise across the news than anything, um, relating to the former president and things like that, but nothing is really um, driving the current action. The S&P has a multi-distribution profile, so moving to the center of the page here. Well, that doesn't work very well. Moving to the center of the page here, S&P relatively light volume versus prior sessions, 138,000 contracts. Inventory is pretty much even above and below the close or prior settlement. The point of control is at 132.75, which is lower than what it was yesterday. It seems like the market has turned over a little bit. 41.55 is about where yesterday's point of control was in um, in the morning before the U.S. Opened, and now that's basically the high. Note the rotations have been updated. The rotations have actually increased slightly across the board, based on last week's numbers. And those are the big pieces to look at or to note. Here's what I talked about yesterday and what I expected yesterday. For those of you who are here, I talked about the setup here that we are likely breaking one-time framing down that we've had over the last couple of days, 3 days or so, and it's likely to push towards the double O up above, double O being 4,200. Um, But I also said, as it says in the caption here, don't expect it to run away to the upside. I expect it to test and turn over. So if you go to the video and you run through the tests, I said thanks to Nvidia for giving us some bad news here. So I'm very confident that it is likely to push lower. Where did I say that? We have full blah 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 blah. So here, somewhere in here, I talk about the strong potential, as you see here, the strong potential for a test upwards, but then it is likely to turn over. And really, I was looking forward for the session to go to 41.20 at some point. Really, the numbers we're looking for 41.35, 41.20. And it did push to, what is it yesterday? 41.90, something like that. For like 41.88. And then the move down was pretty aggressive, pretty strong move down on pretty heavy delta. So let's look at Edge Pro X here for a second. So just to show you how meaningful this crude, this is S&P, how meaningful this move is. Let's go back in time. Vamos a ver. Here we go. So here's the open yesterday. We grind our way up. Little to no participation by the very large lots, a little bit of participation by the large lots, and most of the participation is by the small lots. Grind up, grind up, grind up, and then as it makes this turn, you could see that the delta is peaking out, and really it's accelerating to the downside. So you can see the delta really getting hit on large lots as well as small lots, and back towards that 41.35, which is right here. 41.35 got hit right in here. And so the delta goes flat, and it basically stays flat for the session. So see the delta here just staying at the 0 line. To me, this is relative. This is pretty weak action. There was some very large lot buying coming into the right after the close, but really nothing to be concerned about. Coming into today, we reopen at 4 o'clock Central. This is Central Time here, or 5 o'clock Central, and sideways, and the delta just seems to drift down. Very large lots not participating, small lots controlling the auction, and you can see as we push forward here, The action is such that the relative delta is not able to lift very well. Um, it's not able to lift very well coming into the session. Again, we have weak-ish volume. We've moved from the upper distribution to the lower. So let's look at the active chart. So here's what's happened. So here I saw I saw this setup yesterday this morning. So you can see this impulse down, pretty strong impulse down, 24 and a half points. So we have an impulse continuation pullback. This is an ideal setup for me right here. We have an impulse continuation pullback right into, that's such a beautiful setup there. Again, past performance is not indicative of future results, but look at this pullback. Breaks the IB low, which is the first hour's low at 41.60. 50 pulls back into the mid, into the full session mid and the IB for the true continuation move right into that 41.35 stock zone. Boom. This is the stock zone, this gray area right here. Just very, very pretty. Of course, it's just perfect in hindsight. And then from there, it basically got the wind knocked out of it, and it just went sideways into the close, where we see big lots trading into the close, which is quite common. But the other piece is these collisions. So even if you missed this pullback continuation, pullback to the full session mid and IB low, for a continuation, you had a collision trade. You see, I don't know. Do you guys see those bubbles or is it clearer on my screen? I don't know. You should be looking at this in 1080p in high definition. It's being broadcast in high definition. But do you see those bubbles there? I know there's like a 7-second delay or something for you to answer, but you see this is a collision. What this means is that in order for that to print, there had to have been a resting order and somebody will hammer on that resting order. In this case, somebody lifted for 200 contracts, lifted for 150 above. As it's falling, somebody is lifting. And so, why does that matter to you? It matters right here. So, again, we have the stock zone pre established support and resistance. Again, stock zones are levels that are disseminated to conversion trading members. You have a stock zone, you have a collision. This is worth a shot right here with standard risk, with a fixed risk, looking for at least a rotation and a half down. Um, a rotation and a half down, and that's basically what happened here. This is a pretty decent risk reward setup here. In addition to that, you could see the overnight session kind of playing with this area again, and we're likely to play with it again this morning. This 4152-ish kind of area, 4152.75. So as we move in, the what does it look like for the overnight session? The overnight session has double distribution. So we just shifted. We shifted the point of control a little bit ago down. We have a clear line in the sand. Look at this baby. Boom, boom. All right. Weak test. Couldn't even come back up. We have the full session VWAP and the full session mid right there. So this is your immediate LIS, line in the sand, for the session at 4140. Okay, so we want to see how the market treats that 4140 on the open. We want to keep an eye on the relative delta to see if lifting is meaningful or not. But that's the first indication. So again, double distribution profile with a very distinct low volume node right here in the 4140 area. This is your first, they're usually not this clean. This is your first indication of whether or not the buyers are taking control. If they do, and we open, and we immediately reject going lower, going for the overnight low, and we break this 4140 area, then we're looking for what's likely to be a sloshy pullback for a continuation to the overnight high for the overnight high stat. And then now you're going back to the 4160, which was the IB and the mid area for the session yesterday, and that becomes the key target, right? So that's a 20-point trade there for about 4 points of risk. Those are the kinds of trades I'm looking for. Those are the kinds of trades we're looking for. Let's take a look at the bigger picture. So let's look at the TPO detail. I wanted to spend a little bit of time on crude today, but here's exactly what was expected yesterday. We broke this one-time framing down, you see, and then we opened above in a gap. So now we have an open auction out of range or some sort of auction out of range. We open, we test up. The A period really didn't get beyond the 4160, so pretty bullish. So this is more of a an open rejection reverse. It opened, could not push lower, went up, and then B period opened up, pushed A period by a few ticks, and then boom, the selling came in. And once we get past the open, then you're targeting the prior session's point of control, 4136.50 in TPOs, and that becomes a key target to pull back to. This morning, we're opening at the extreme of yesterday's range, and so this morning I'm expecting this 4140 again, which is yesterday's settlement, yesterday's point of control, yesterday's close, to present some issues. So this 4140 to call it 42 presents us with a low volume node, a price structure, a price action support resistance. It presents us with the prior point of control. It presents us with the current session mid and VWAP. This is likely to be a very contested test area where buyers are likely to try to push through and sellers are likely to defend. So don't expect it to turn on a dime here, but this is looking like it is likely to continue to squeeze down after yesterday's range. So yesterday what it did is it took a probe above, it took a peek above that long-term balance, if you recall, took a peek above there and it failed to hold it, moving the point of control in line with the prior session. See, the point of control here is pretty much inside of the prior session. These 2 days are balanced within each other. Okay, so if we wanted to take a different tact at this, let's merge all of the profiles that are on top of each other. And we are down here. This is where we are currently. And the point of control of this entire region is at 4155 using TPOs, not volume. And the settlement is below. So this is likely to present resistance as well. So even if it makes it through the 4140, the long needs to be cleared before the 4155 where there's balance across multiple days up there. So what I'm saying is we're on the bottom side away from value of this composite TPO composite profile. TPO composite profile, so I'm expecting it to find resistance at 4140. If not, then it's likely to struggle at 4155. So I'm leaning bearish, but I'm going to remind you that I'm not trading currently. Okay, alarm. Gotcha. Heard you. It's my rotation alarm. Crude is making some moves, apparently. Crude, on the other hand, here's a composite for crude. The last area we were imbalanced, 93.78 is the point of control. Here's the last few days, since last Wednesday, I think. The last few days of trading, you can see that crude broke to the upside. Crude is above the settlement of yesterday, and now crude is likely to be pulled into orbit of that 93.80 area. So crude is likely to have a base and likely to test the 93.80 area from below. Crude's been behaving Very interestingly, if we don't mess with the auction, if you don't have news that messes with the auction, crude is very likely to continue higher. Again, base, higher low in crude. Long way to go to break this low in crude. So this product is likely to continue again to that 93.80 balance above. The magnet is 93.80. See this purple faint zone? That would be the magnet. 93.80 or 80 or 80 in French. 420s. Very mathematical language. Um, so that's it. I'm going to leave you with those ideas. Today, just keep it on a 41.40. Then you have this 41.55, which is today's overnight high. Today's overnight high just happens to be that point of control, that composite point of control for the current area. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. Good luck, and I will catch you tomorrow morning. Take care.